everyone. This is Y. Manohar Reddy, Department of Cybersecurity, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today, I am going to discuss about the question bank of IP traceback techniques. IP traceback techniques. So, IP traceback techniques. What is meant by IP traceback technique? Actually, so IP traceback technique is a type of DDoS detection technique. It's a type of DDoS detection technique. And DDoS stands for what? Distributed denial of service. So, which is one type of attack. So, which is requested for the processing, recovering of the data or path of which the path is attacked. So, IP traceback technique looks like a DDoS technique. It is a DDoS detection technique which is used to trace the path. Of IP packet. Trace the path of IP packet to its origin. That is nothing but the starting point and the ending point. So where the path is started and where the path is ended. So from the ending path to its origin path. So one can find out the true identity of the attacker and can detect the path characteristics also. So the DDoS technique, and which is DDoS detection technique, and it is a traceback technique to trace the path of an IP packet to its origin, so that one can find out the true identity of the attacker and can detect the path characteristics. So by doing this IP traceback technique, we can identify the path of an IP packet which it is attacked, and the attacker identity also we can find out, and the detecting the path characteristics also. So by doing this traceback technique, we can find out the path characteristics as well as identity of the attacker as well as the path of an IP packet. So IP traceback is any method for reliably determining the origin of packet on the internet. So where the packet has been generated and towards where it is moved to the end of the destination. So by doing this traceback technique, we can find out the ending point of the packet as well as the starting origin of the packet. So IP traceback process is a DDoS distributed denial of service detection technique to find out the path characteristics as well as identity of the attacker as well as the path of IP packet where it is moved from source to destination, or where it has been revoked from destination to origin. And what are the IP traceback techniques? So to do this process, what are the techniques actually? So there are two main kind of IP traceback techniques have been proposed in two orthogonal dimensions. In that, one is packet marking. And the second one is what? Packet logging. That means whenever the packet has been transmitted from source to destination, it has to move in different locations. It has to be moved from different hosts or different stations or different points. So each and every place the packet has been marked. The packet has been marked. So that part is called as packet marking. So here in packet marking, the router marks forwarded IP packets. With its identification information. So the packet has been marked. The router marks forwarded IP packet. So what packet is moved from here to the next station, each and every packet has been marked by the router. Each and every packet has been marked by router with its identification information. Looks like the vehicles at the toll gates. Vehicles at the toll gate. Whenever the vehicle is arrived to the toll gate, automatically the toll gate point number 1 or number 2 identify all the information of that particular vehicle. Then it is open the gate to move the vehicle from that point. So like the way here the router acting like a toll point, and each and every packet comes to the toll point, comes to the router point, has been marked by the router, and after identifying all the information of the packets, the router opens the gate to move it from the move it to the packets. So like the way the packet marking has been processed. And here two main kinds of IP traceback techniques have been proposed in two dimensions. So one is what packet marking, and the second one is what packet logging. One is what packet marking, and the second one is what packet logging. So here the IP traceback based on packet marking, IP traceback process based on packet marking is often referred to as probabilistic packet marking. So it has to be referred as probabilistic packet marking approach. We can call it as PPM approach. That indirectly says that probabilistic packet marking approach, where packets are probabilistically marked with partial path information as they are forwarded by the routers. So routers are identifying all the packets which are coming towards the router. So identifying all the packets and store the information of the packets, then move from that point. Then has to be moved from the packet. So this approach incurs little overhead at routers. So, but due to its probabilistic nature, that means it has to be count the number of points. It has to be count the number of packets which are arrived to the routers. If more number of packets are arrived to the router, then a router has a overhead to count all those packets. So it can only determine the source of the traffic composed of number of packets. So it can only determine the source of the traffic composed of a number of packets. So that is what the packet marking process is doing with the help of is done in the IP traceback technique. And second one, IP traceback based on packet logging. IP traceback based on packet logging is often referred to as hash-based approach. Where routers can compute or calculate and store digest for each forwarded packet. So for each and every packet, it has to be compute and store digest for each forwarded packet. So this approach can trace an individual packet to its source. So however, the storage space requirement for packet digests and the access time requirement for recording packets commensurate with their arriving rate are prohibitive at routers with high speed links. So maintaining all the packets with relevant of time, how and what time they came and what time they leave. So each and every time has to be implemented for each and every packets. We propose an IP traceback approach based on both packet marking and packet logging. So compared with the probabilistic packet marking model (PPM) approach, this approach, that is packet logging approach, is able to track an individual packet. So that means packet logging is nothing but it maintains the history of each and every packet, at what time it is arrived and at what time it is started and at what time it is ended, at what time it is ended. So each and every time of the packets under the place origins of the packets has to be maintained. So here the approach is track individual packets. So compared with this PPM approach, this approach is able to having less storage overhead and less access time overhead at routers. Less overtime head and less access time overhead at routers. And specifically, the storage overhead is reduced to roughly roughly one half, and the access time requirement is also decreased by the factor of number of neighbor routers. So maintaining all the packets logging history, where it is started and what time it is started, where it is arrived and at what time it is arrived, and where it is going to be reached and what time it is going to be reached. So maintaining all this track of information is compared with packet marking is somewhat reducing access time as well as somewhat reducing overhead of the time. So here the IP traceback techniques, we are having the main two types are there, but along with that we can say some of the techniques. So IP traceback is the process of identifying the actual source of the attack packets. IP traceback process is done only when the packets are attacked, when the source is attacked, or when the root is attacked by the attacker. So at that moment only IP traceback technique is used. So this has the benefit of holding attackers accountable for abusing the internet. So they can misuse the internet. They can send some malware programs or send malware messages to the packets. So the IP traceback methods are classified as one is reactive and the second one is proactive. So IP traceback methods are classified as one is reactive method and proactive method. So the reactive identifies the traceback information after that the attack has been occurred. So reactive means after the attacker is identified, then only they can take the actions against that attack. So that it is called as what? Reactive. So it identifies the traceback information after that the attacks has been occurred. And proactive identifies the traceback information when packets are traversed through the network. So when packets are moving forwarded or when packets are moving traversed through the network, at that moment only the proactive process is identified. So here the IP traceback technique is a voice detection technique, so which is used to trace the path. So what we are saying, the trace the path of an IP packet and find out the true identity of the attacker and can detect the path characteristics. For all these, we are doing IP traceback technique in both reactive way as well as proactive way. So here there are different types of IP traceback techniques. One is what? Link testing, and the second one is what? Packet logging, and packet marking, and ICMP traceback. So here the diagram, I can understand this diagram. The attacker identified or attacker attacked the path in this way. So here attack is from here. The attacker is going to be use this router and use this router and use this router to attack on this target system. So actually the host 1 is there, host 2 is there. So they are using or interacting with these two processes. The host 1 is interacting with the victim and host 2 is interacting with the victim with the help of these routers. But in the middle of that process, attacker uses some routers and taking the path into under his control and taking that under control, and the path is going to be having that attack path. The path is going to be have that attack path to attack on the target system. Attack on the target system. Now the system is this victim is what? The attacked system or target system. So now the attacker A to attacker attacking the system by using this router 6 along with this router 3 along with this router 2 along with this router 1 and along with this victim target system. So to identify where is the attacker and who is the attacker, what we need to do, we need to perform trace back technique. So trace back technique. In this moment, we are identifying each and every pre-step which is already done for the targeting system. So from where we are going to identify, so the traceback technique is process of identifying the path characteristics as well as identifying attacker identity and detection of the detection of the path characteristics. So at this moment, the reverse path is what? First one, the router. The traceback path is what? Victim to router 1. Then next router 1 to router 2. Then next router 2 to router 3. Then next router 3 to router 6. Then next router 6 to the attacker origin place. So at this moment, each and every packets are moved at the moment of router. So routers can marking all the packets information. So at that moment, by maintaining all the packet marking information, we can able to find where the packets are arrived and where the packets are started by processing this traceback technique. So here, what are the types? Link testing, packet logging, packet marking, and ICMP based traceback. So what is the type, reactive type or proactive type? We can see here. The link testing is a reactive process. It is a reactive process after identified attacker, after the packets are being attacked. After the attacking process, we are going to perform the traceback technique. Is this link testing? So it is a reactive process and it can be used for determining the packet which carries the attacker's traffic. The process starts from the router closest to the target. So the process is going to be started from the router closest to the target. So which router is closest to the target, from there only the link testing process will be started. So the procedure is repeated for testing the upstream links. Upstream links are nothing but the closest or longest routers, all the routers which are started from the attacker point of view. Again, testing all the upstream links to determine which one carries the traffic. So, which packet is carrying the traffic, which routers are moving forwarded to the attacker. And the second one is what? Logging process. So, logging is a proactive process. That is nothing but the traceback performs at the moment of packets being transmitted. So, in packet logging based IP traceback, the packet may need to log on each router. So for each and every router, the packet has to be log on to each router, and as it traverses to reach the victim. So it has to be traversing all the routers and moved forward to the victim. And third one, packet marking. So it is also a proactive process. So that means the moment of packet being transferred, at that moment only correcting the information or traversing the information. So the main idea of packet marking based IP traceback is to mark the packets with its identification information at each router which they pass. So which we discussed in the already. So packet marking, at the moment of packet delivering, each and every router has to mark the information about the packet. So with its identification information at each and every router. And fourth one, ICMP based traceback. ICMP based traceback. That is also proactive. So in ICMP traceback method, we use iTrace method. We use iTrace method, and each router selects one packet per 20,000 packets. So for every 20,000 packets, it selects one ICMP packet. It selects only one ICMP packets. Then it's also generate an ICMP message. So it's also generate ICMP message which indicates to all these 20,000 packets. The ICMP message has the same destination IP addresses as the traced packet. So ICMP message has the same destination IP address as the traced packet. The ICMP message also contains the IP header of the traced packet. ICMP message also having the same destination IP address as well as same IP header of the traced packet, and the IP address of the incoming interface, IP address of the incoming interface and the outgoing interface, incoming interface and the outgoing interface of the current counter, When the victim receives the sufficient message, it can reconstruct the traversed path of packet. It can reconstruct the traversed path of packet. So like the way the ICMP based traceback method works. It is a proactive method. So here we can understand that link testing. So each and every process, each and every packet is, this indicates the packets. This indicates the packet, and moving backward to identifying where the attacker started. So here the routers which are used for link testing. The routers which are used for link testing. So router 1, router 3, router 4. So at that moment the packets are being forwarded to the victim. And the second one is what? Packet marking. So each and every router has to mark each and every individual packet. It marks like first packet, the next first packet move to the third router. Then it identifies the first and third 1-3 packet. The packet number has to be changed for every router. So the next 1, 3, 4. Like the way the packet has been marked at each and every router. And third one, packet logging. So packet logging. So maintain the each and every packet information, and when it comes to the router, it has to be traversed. It has to be traversed with their identity information. And moving forwarded to the victims network. So this is the way of packet logging and link testing and other packet logging will be occur. So at this moment we have to understand that IP tracebacking is a mechanism to identify the attacker's identity as well as path characteristics, and from where it is being attacked by the attacker, and from where it is going to be recovered by the recover process. So here we can understand that the source of the packets and the target of the packets. So this is the source of the packet, and the IP packet is going to be forwarded to the router 1. So now router 1 is going to be store the packet information. And the next the router 4. So router 1 is storing the information about the packet. The next router 4 is going to be store the information of the packet. The next router 6 is going to be store the information of the packet. So now the packet information is stored at 1 and 4 and 6 routers. Now this is the target. So the targeting mission is going to be, this is the target. So now the target is attack. Now the target is attacked. Similarly, source of attack 2. So it sends IP packet at the moment of router 2, the next router 5, the next router 6. So 256 is the attacked packet to targeting on this system. Attacked target on this attacked packets on this targeting system. And similarly, source of attack 3. So this is the IP packet identified at router 3, the next identified at router 5, the next identified at router 6. So now 356 is the attacked path of the target system. Attacked path of the target system. So here each and every paths we mentioned that the first source of attack 1. Attack 1 path is what? 146 is the target, and as attack 2 is what? 256 is the target path, and attack 3 is what? 356 is the target path. 356 is the target path. So at this moment we noticed that all the target paths here, but when we performing IP traceback technique, we have to perform either link testing, either packet marking, either packet logging. You can use any of the techniques to identify the target missions. So this is the way of performing the traceback techniques of IP packets or IP or packet information. So once again we revise the topics which we discussed in this session. So here the first one is what is meant by IP traceback. What is meant by IP traceback? So it is a DDoS, that is nothing but distributed denial of service detection technique, which is used to trace the path of IP packet, to its origin, to find out the identity of the attacker, and to detect the path characteristics also. And it is a method of reliably determining the origin of packet on the internet. So there are two types of techniques actually. One is what? Packet marking and packet logging. So packet marking is nothing but what? Each and every packet has to be identified at the router, and once it identifies the identity information of the packet, the router opens the gate to move it from the place. So at this point of view, each and every packet has to be give the information at the router. So now router stores the information of each and every packet. And the packet logging. So packet logging, in this moment, the packet where it is going to be started, and what time it is started, and what route it is going to be selected for moving or targeting the system. So like that, all the packet logging information is going to be stored here. And here the different types of IP traceback techniques, and the techniques are classified based on the two classifications. One is what? Reactive process, and the second one is what? Proactive process. One is what? Reactive process, and the second one is what? Proactive process. So reactive process is nothing but what? After attacking the target system, we have to identify the traceback information. So after attacking the target system only, we have to identify the traceback techniques. Similarly, proactive technique means we have to perform the traceback technique at the moment of packets are traversed. So at this moment only we have to find out the details of each and every packet. And here we can understand that how the path is attacked and how the traceback technique is applied. So suppose here we can understand that the host 1 and the host 2 are interacting with the victim, that is nothing but interacting with the target system. So they can use a normal process, they can send normal packets to the normal routers like router 7, router 4, router 2, router 1 to the victim. But at the moment of transmission of the data, the attacker comes here in the middle of transmission. Now attacker uses router 6, router 3, router 2, router 1 to the target system. So that path is nothing but attack path. That is nothing but attacker uses the routers to reach the target system. Attacker uses the routers to reach the target system is called what? Attack path. And to find that source of the attack, where the actually attack process started, to find out the source of attack, we use the traceback method. That traceback method is started from the target machine, which is nearest to the target router. At this moment only, at this point of only, we can perform the traceback technique. And here, what are the types reactive processes and what are the proactive processes? So here, link testing is one reactive process which is perform the traceback technique after the attack happened, after the attacker done, after the attacker sends the packet. And the logging, packet marking, ICP based tracebacks are the proactive methods. They can use the process during the packet transmission, during the traversing of the packets, during the packet transmission or during the packet packet traversing process. And here we can understand that link testing, packet marking, and packet logging. Packet testing, link testing, packet marking, and packet logging. And here also we can understand that source of attack 1 first path and source of attack 2 is the second one and the source of attack 3 is the third one or target on the system, and how they are using the attack, how they are using the paths, and how they are going to be performing traceback paths, how they are using source attack paths, and how they are using traceback paths. So this is all about the IP traceback techniques, which is offered in the IP security process. Thank you all.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.